Welcome to Getting Ghosted. This is an Intuitive Soul Collective podcast, and I'm your host, Allie Horner. Hey everyone, I'm excited to record this week. I don't know what kind of came over me, but I had another episode planned, and this week I just was like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know if I need to release that episode yet. Let's see. So I'm popping in, and I had this right as I went to pick up my microphone, I was hearing that, come on everybody, come on everybody, that old song. I totally forget who sings that, but it's from like the 50s maybe. So anyways, that started to come through. And so I know that something good is going to be popping in, and yeah, let's get started. First of all, before we get started though, I wanted to say, I do have 2 courses that are opening. They will teach you how to channel. One is called The Art of Auto Writing, and auto writing is really just a form of intuitive or clear conduit channeling, but via writing. So if you're like, I want to channel messages from the other side, lessons from spirit guides, or you want to channel a book, or you are like, well, I feel like I'm meant to write something. I don't know what it is. Doesn't matter. Come and join us for the group. I think you'll really like it. It's going to be a mix of online courses and live practices and like live taught sessions. So I will have a mix of both because I know that summer gets really busy for people and it gets hard for them to come to a lot of live classes. So you can all do that online on your own time as well if you so choose. And then we'll also have the Art of Channeling, which is the intermediate to advanced level course. It's going to be a great one for people who want to learn how to clear conduit channel or lucid channel. And I'm really excited for that one because I know that there are people who are ready to take it, who are ready to speak seamlessly by allowing your guides or loved ones on the other side or higher beings and ideas to just channel through you. So this is all about channeling with speaking. And this is really also about starting to learn how to move your conscious mind, your fears, your worries, your belief systems, your own thoughts out of the way more and more so that you can channel seamlessly through spoken word. Now, if you feel at all curious or drawn to it and you're not quite sure yet, but you know there's something that just sparks interest there, just come and join us. We have a quick little almost like a taster class. It's like getting a little bit of an appetizer to see if you want to take the larger course on it that will be starting in June. And so the class is coming up next week. So you're welcome to sign up separately, or you can join it by joining one of our higher Patreon tiers. It's one of their monthly channeled courses for their Channeling 101 monthly classes. So it'll be the Intro to Clear Conduit or Lucid Channeling class. You can come and get that or take that and just see how you feel about it, and then see if it's something you want to take the entire course on. So both of those courses are Art of Auto Writing and Art of Clear Conduit Channeling will be starting the week of June 22nd. You can join both courses or just one of the courses. It's totally up to you, but I hope you'll consider it. Both have all of the details online at intuitivesoulcollective.com, so feel free to go check that out there. Now, here we go. So I see Erik and Sam popping in. Yay. And I see Anna as well. And they're showing me the difference in their dimensional planes. So Erik and Sam are here because they have a quick message, and they said, we want you to understand that there's so much more going on, guys. Like, they're like, we know y'all are dealing with a lot of funky energy right now, and there's a lot more coming to form. And they said that what's happening is there's almost like a pull shift going on. And they said, some of you are really sensitive and you can feel this more and more. There's so much more going on with the energetic shifts and the Schumann resonance and all these types of things. And they said it all comes together in this big mishmash, and they're like folding their hands together and like that. And they said, so it is a really big mishmash, and we want you to understand that as these things shift and change, it's just going to feel a little funky. You know, they're like, it's a little funky. It's okay. You've dealt with worse. You can handle this. And even I've been like really feeling that energy lately, and I'm kind of like, what the heck is this? Why is this happening right now? Why do I feel so funky and so weird? And I'm so tired. I've been really tired or almost like zenned out for hours every afternoon. But I've also been doing a lot of bigger, deeper channeling. So I know I'm needing a lot of rest and grounding to make space for that. So we are going through energetic shifts. They want to remind everyone of that. And they said, it's okay. It's happening. And it's important. So whatever your body needs for you to be doing, whether that's resting, or maybe you're feeling really vibrant and creative, maybe you're feeling really intuitively like you need to shift your eating patterns, your sleep schedule, get immersed in a new creative project, or maybe take a pause on certain things you were working on. Do what you need to do right now. So Erik and Sam are like, you gotta like really like let yourselves have the rest and restoration that you need to receive. Sometimes a big resting period where you're like, man, I was rocking and rolling. What happened? Now I'm tired. I can't do anything. They said sometimes that's a redirection. So that can be really potent and really powerful and really important sometimes when you get that redirection. Okay. So don't fight against that. Okay. Now, the other piece they're showing me is they said, we have some really good things coming in terms of spiritual guidance, but we don't want to give it to you all at once. We really want you guys to get ramped up and get in gear and get ready because there's new things coming to and through, not just me as a channel, but through other channels. And we're also going to have, we're entering our age of disclosure in terms of like the multidimensional beings that are in our, in our world and around us all the time. And we're also going to see more and more people kind of coming out of the woodwork who are talking about this multidimensionality that they have. And this has been happening for a long time, but we're going to see more people sharing their stories and kind of coming out of the spiritual closet. And this is because we are getting primed and ready to have more disclosure. Now, I don't want to speak to exactly how it's going to happen. And I did a video about this on my TikTok too. For those of you who aren't following me there, I have the account Spirit Speaker 25, no periods, no dashes, nothing. I have no other accounts, so don't get scammed by anyone because that is not something I can control. But I do have videos on there about this. And in essence, something my guides and, the multidimensional beings that I also channel have been saying is that they're telepathically connecting with a lot of people. And they have been for a long time. But they've been really doing so, one, to test out our fear frequency and see like, hey, can we handle this? Can we handle this information coming through? What information can they give us safely, not just for them, but for ourselves? And number two, they're really trying hard not to cause too much chaos for us because they don't want things to be too disruptive for us. And they said, we've tested and tried different things with working with different people over time. And they said, we really want to be able to trust humans. We want to be able to trust you guys with the timing and the way that you share things. But they've noticed in the past that as they've come through and tried to help or support certain people, sometimes those people will speak too quickly or they'll kind of share information with the wrong people at the wrong time because those humans aren't listening to their intuition about when and how to share. And then what happens is these people end up getting like put in loony bins or, they end up like getting put in a hospital or shut down or shamed or they're made into scapegoats and outcasts and things like that. So these beings, these multidimensional beings and from higher realms really care. They really care about us. I've never felt anything but love from them. And the spiritual teachings they've taught me, as well as in accordance and connection with my own guides, has been always filled with a lot of beauty and love and clarity. If anything, I found that my life has improved after starting to channel them, over 10 years ago versus like, when I listen to a lot of humans, it's not that humans are bad necessarily, but they're flawed and they don't always have the ability to see things from higher perspectives. Even the people we love most on earth sometimes just don't have the best wisdom or guidance or have really flawed human behaviors, right? And when we love people, we can see that clearly. That's what love is sometimes seeing someone's flaws very clearly and understanding. And rather than saying like, oh, I understand, go ahead, be that flawed, like we go, well, I love you, but I don't think you know what's best for myself or yourself or anyone. But these higher beings have this multidimensionality that allows them to see things much more truthfully and clearly. And so they're able to give higher and deeper wisdom. Now they're also testing how much of that can we handle at different times. So if some of you have ever gotten readings where you're trying to ask your guides or loved ones or multidimensional spiritual guides, hey, like, what do I do about this, this, and this? Why can't they tell me this? Why can't they tell me that? And it's like, sometimes it's like, because you're not ready. You're not ready to hear it. You wouldn't be able to fully hold that wisdom. You would rebuke it or rebuff it. You would be upset about it. You wouldn't like hearing it. They've tried to give higher concepts to a lot of people, and a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to hear that right now. I want to hear about this random guy that I'm dating. I want to hear about how to make more, like $10,000 more dollars. And they're like, well, that's not stuff that we teach about. Right. So these guys are really like coming through more and more with higher dimensional messages to help humans, to clear our minds. And each time they do this, they're also seeing how much energy and higher frequency we can handle. They don't want to do anything that's going to be harmful for our bodies, our psyches, or our energetic systems, but they are kind of what they've been showing me and telling me is there is an age of disclosure coming, and how it's happening is like a wave rolling in which they'll be exposing and reaching more and more of us telepathically first, and through dream states, or they won't necessarily be showing up physically as physical looking beings in the room in front of you, right? They're not going to be showing up like in their little spaceships or whatever for everyone all at once, at least not at this point in time. They're testing and seeing what ways they can use to communicate with people, to share with people, so that when it is time for them to come forward in a much more full frontal way, like full frontal, tongue in cheek, but show up really viscerally for the whole of humanity, that so many seeds will be planted about their existence that we're not going to freak. And they said, we're more concerned about you destroying each other than destroying us or harming us. They were like, you can't really harm us. And they were like, we really don't want you to end up harming each other, or we don't want to cause more of that lower fear or stress frequency or energetic wave on Earth, because that's already really potent there. So they are planting seeds of higher consciousness memories, from, us remembering that we really are part of these multidimensional beings and societies first. They want us to remember what love is. They want us to remember that we are part of the earth and she's part of us, that it's not separate. They're trying to remind us how to take care of each other and the planet. They're trying to remind us who and what we really are. They're here to kind of help with that part of our awakening. So I always tell people, like, part of your spiritual guidance system is not just spirit, it's your multidimensional beings. And that's always been very clear to me. And it's future humans, like future humans who are higher and brighter and see things more clearly, because they've been, moving beyond a lot of this fear frequency, or they understand it better at the very least. So they're able to see so much more. And so, like, hell, your own future selves from thousands of years in the future can come through and guide you. So I just want to bring that through because it's been coming through really potently. And it feels like that's what they want to focus on in today's channeling, is that more and more of you are going to be getting these telepathic messages, these big downloads about things. And when these guys come through, for a lot of people, it's almost like they're trying to describe it because they're like, we want people not to be overwhelmed. But what often happens is you kind of feel like you're dropping into an altered state. And so what might happen is you space out for a little while you're it's like a stream of consciousness download running through your mind where your thoughts almost entirely move aside. You might have questions, but they seem not to be able to interfere with the transmission that you're getting. And that's what it really is a transmission. They said, now don't worry, we're not going to come in and take over your bodies. We don't do things like that. We won't harm humans. That's not how we work. We want you to work with us and remember us as your multidimensional family. So we aren't here to take away your free will. And in fact, part of the reason that we have not been as involved with all of you in the ways that you might think we're supposed to be is because we can't and won't interfere with free will. That's not how we work. We don't do things like that. And we don't allow others to do the same things. Your planet is very protective, as is humanity. But now many more of you have been reaching out and calling out through thoughts, through prayers, through moments alone in the dark for help and healing. And that is why there are more and more of us beginning to send transmissions through and make contact with you on Earth. The other place I've seen people making contact with them that they are showing and want me to remind you all of is that often when people are going through near-death experiences, deep meditative states, anything that alters your consciousness, those lucid dream states where you're half in, half out, they're making more contact there. And I'm noticing more people coming out online talking about, I had this near-death experience and I was in a coma, or I was in a deep meditative state, like doing healing work. And all of a sudden I made contact with extraterrestrials and I saw light beings and I saw this glowing world where all the colors seemed to glow and had light behind them, like they were lit up from within and I could feel them and blah, blah, blah. This is the multidimensional world, the multidimensional state. And spirit describes it as well when they come through. And so it's because it's a frequency difference. It's not really a different place. It's a frequency difference. It's a different dimensional space. It's not necessarily that it's like, that it doesn't exist or that we can't reach it here. It is here. The other piece they're showing me is that more and more of you will remember things and have experiences where you're going to places where you can be healed, like the hill in the telepathy tapes, or they're showing me like crystal healing caves, underwater healing areas where it's like a dome under the ocean, and that dome is filled with this like air, and there's beings there and crystals and things like that. There's many people who have that collective dream or have gone there in deep meditation or astral traveling or in a dream. That is also a healing space. It kind of reminds me of like the movie Atlantis, but not fully exactly the same. I had actually had visions of this before I ever saw that movie. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. I went to this place and I swam underwater, and I went into this dome, and there were like amethyst crystals and all these things. So, now, it's not only that we're traveling interdimensionally, it's that we're also in essence time traveling in some of these senses too, but those things become interlocked and intermixed. I won't get into the mechanics because it's a mind fuck, and there's no reason to do that with all the semantics of things here on Earth. And when we argue semantics about things, that's when your vibration drops. People are always like, well, this is exactly what it is. It's called this, and it has to be that. And no, like you were experiencing this, and no, this was your future self, blah, blah, blah. You're arguing semantics, and you're immediately dropping the vibration of the whole group. So with so much love, knock it off. Stop getting lost in it. And I mean that with so much love, like seriously, because it's going to drop everything down. So it's important that instead of trying to figure it out with the intellect of the mind, you're feeling it with the body. And that's what's going to happen more and more as we interact with these frequencies. And when you interact with those like higher frequencies anyways, you're not existing in such fear and stress, and where you need all of this like semantics and language to explain and figure everything out and understand it intellectually. You move beyond the mind. And so that's important to know, because that's a lot of what we're going to be going through as well. Now, on another note, this is also some of the energy that we're entering into in the years to come, is where we're going to see more and more of us going beyond the energy of the mind. And we're going to see this channel between the solar plexus up into the heart and into the mind connecting. And so something I always teach my groups, that my guides and our loved ones always want me to teach, is how to connect above all the way through the column of light, drop it through and around the whole body, call in your team of light, whatever that and whoever that may be for you. And then drop that energy in that column of light all the way in. Feel it going through the center of your body and drop it into the earth. We connect to the center of the earth, and then we let the earth's nice grounding energy beam back up through our body. As above, so below. We want to be connected above and below. We want to be connected to the interdimensional, multidimensional space, and be able to hold these higher frequencies here in the earthly plane. We are not separate from the earth. We are part of her. So it's important that we're allowing ourselves to remember that. You will often feel something happen in your body as you do this. Like it'll feel like often my spine straightens, and all of a sudden I go, like I'll have a deep breath overcome me. Sometimes my center body spasms or contracts really tightly, all the way up my center column of my body, and then like releases. And I always say this is almost like an energetic trash chute. It's like, it just drops it into the earth, and then allows the earth's nice grounding, lovely, rich browns and greens, right? Like all of that beams back up and just like wraps you up from the inside out and just says, I got you. I've got you. I'm holding you. Don't worry. And so we want to match with that frequency and vibration, but begin to hold more and more of these higher frequencies and these bright light frequencies at the same time. I know this all sounds very nebulous, but I promise you, if you do the meditation and just practice this more and more, you'll begin to see that energy moving through you or visualize it. Some of you will just feel it. Some of you will actually even smell things differently. Some of you will hear different things. That's okay. That's all part of that process. And so that's a really important thing right now, is they've been wanting us to keep connected to the earth, because we are here to take care of this planet as part of ourselves, and she is here to take care of us as part of herself. So we're intermixed and intermingled. Also, the more that you're doing this, the better you're going to have a chance of channeling for yourself and opening up to higher wisdom, new ideas, insights, inspirations, epiphanies, whether that is in your specific field of study or work, or about things that you've never studied. You might feel more and more grounded and tethered in a sense, and anchored, so that you can hold capacity to receive deeper transmissions, higher channelings, all of these kinds of things, messages from the other side. Or you might find that you're dealing with stress more easily, that you're not sitting in fear because you're more anchored, you're more centered, right? So remember, you can do this really at any time. It's a basic channeling and energy work practice to connect connect above, connect below with the column of light. It is not complicated. It is really something anyone can do. And just remember, some people experience it differently than others. And over time, you can always play with it and make it your own. But that will really help with some of these transmissions from these multidimensional beings, from your guides, from your loved ones on the other side, Erik, Sam, whoever you have coming through, your mom, your grandmother, your own guides, your own loved ones, your own ancestors. That connection process and grounding process will be helpful to handle those energies. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to mention, because I don't want to make this too long, is I have begun doing some more channelings around what's called the gene keys. Now, this whole energetic system is really all about how to activate our spiritual purpose and activate our spiritual DNA. It's a super cool system when you really start to read into it and read about it. It's connected to the I Ching. It's connected to astrology. It's connected to human design. It's almost like all of these systems go together, and it's like having layers on a cake. They're all important. And they're all like, different layers on the cake, but they're all part of the same cake, right? So they all interlap and interweave together. And so you'll see me more and more talking about the gene keys. It's not going to be the bulk of what I do, but I do think they're really interesting, as well as human design. And I know that I found some things that were really important when I started to look up my charts, 8-9 years ago. And it took a long time for me to fully integrate and understand what these systems were saying. But now I feel like I've got a really good handle on it from coming back to it time and time again over the years. For example, like there are things that you can find and activate within your own spiritual DNA that are revealed through your free gene keys chart. There are things that you can activate over time as well through the different frequencies that you are playing in here on Earth. And so the gene keys are really all about frequency. And you'll see that as you start to study them. They're all about helping you activate the higher and higher frequencies and learn how to hold those higher frequencies here on Earth. And that's a lot of what I do, and a lot of channelers are doing here on the planet. We're just, helping people hold higher frequencies for longer and longer periods of time. And so you'll see me talking more and more about the gene keys on here, but more so from the perspective of working with intuition around them, activating your own higher frequencies through your gene keys, and then looking at the gene key transits, which come up every 7-ish days almost. And sometimes it's like 5 to 7 days, but really these gene key transits kind of interweave with astrology. It's pretty cool. But each transit will give you like, here's the fear frequency of this transit and what you might see coming up in the lower frequency of it. And then here's what you might see in what Richard Rudd, who channeled the gene keys, calls the gift frequency, which is really like sort of like when we're in flow, ease, inspiration, creativity, feeling lit up, feeling excited about things. And then there's the Siddhic frequency, which is in essence which most people can't really enter most of the time unless they're kind of in a deeper meditative state, even with their eyes open. So I just want to mention this because I'll be mentioning more and more of these gene key transits. You'll see me posting about them on TikTok and in the Patreon groups. Just because I think it's a great way for us to activate our spiritual DNA and watch for certain themes coming up. So for example, like our current transit, it's activated from May 15th to 20th, and it's Gene Key 8, where we evolve from the shadow of mediocrity into the gift of style. And it's like, I can so see it right now because what I'm seeing for a lot of people is as they enter the gifted state of style, it's not about fashion or it's not about how they show up in the world in terms of fashion or presentation. It's more about them being completely authentically themselves and having full integrity with not just who they think they're supposed to be, like with their cultural conditioning and all of that. It's more about what they know is true for themselves and walking around and embodying it and how it reflects outwardly into the world. It's more about like being able to enter into that, like, here's exactly like the core of my essence and I'm embodying it here on earth. And this is like exactly what I'm here to do and who I'm here to be. So we're seeing a lot of people right now who are kind of like making surprising decisions. Like I have a friend who, was really stuck in that kind of fear frequency. And so she would find herself in mediocrity, which is essentially like the fear of success, right? And she was really afraid of like, doing things outside the norm. in terms of how she saw it. Doing things that would upset the family system, have her judged by her peers or other moms at school. She was like, in a job that doesn't fit, doing things that don't fit. Even her parenting style was like, here's what I think I'm supposed to do, not what actually is right for me and my kids. And during this gene key transit, I have noticed her all of a sudden going, you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to take a class on medical intuition. I just Googled one, and I think I found Caroline Miss online, and she has a medical intuition class. And I just thought, you know what? I just feel like I'm supposed to do this. So all of a sudden, here she is stepping into her higher spiritual purpose, because she's finally been saying, you know what I've always wanted to do since I was young? You know what? It's always been in my mind. I've always felt like I'm here to work with people in some sort of medical way. And she doesn't work in that field at all, period. And she said, I felt really lost in my career forever because I'm not following what's really true and right for my dream. And I know that she said, I just feel like this is the right next step. I don't know if I'm supposed to be a medical intuitive or a medical healer, but this is right for me right now. And I went, I love it. So this is her speaking authentically, right? So the gift of style is about the way you move about in the world, from the very decisions being made that are truly authentic and right for your soul's highest expression here on earth. And so you can have that gene key show up in any area of your chart. And we all have all of these gene keys. There's 64 of them. And so as we go through the transits, you'll see the opportunity to notice, like, where can you step into more of your authentic style here on earth, right here, right now? And for some people, it'll come through very tangibly in terms of their literal fashion. For some people, they might have a little bit more of like, these things I have in my home, they're not me. So we might see people purging things. We might see people leaving like the cultural conditioning again of like, what's your style of parenting? What is your style of like, how do you carry yourself? What is your style of thinking? What belief systems are actually true to you? What are your true values? But not from the sense of like, what do you think you're supposed to be? More so from the sense of, who am I really? It's like a remembering and a return to who you really are. And so that is what we're going to be bumping up against. So you might see people having struggles with this, and you might see people really walking into it really seamlessly, making spontaneous decisions that like where it's like they're changing their route, they're changing their path. They're suddenly like, you know what feels right for me? This. We might see people finally speaking their minds, showing up for themselves, people who we're constantly in that fear of cultural conditioning. What will people think? Finally going, fuck it. You know what? I don't care. Like, I'm just going to do my thing. This just feels right. This just is right for me. And like I said, it could come through very like literally, in terms of like, walking, talking, styling, expressing. But this is all about you holding that higher frequency. And that's the thing that really turns heads on earth. But the irony of the gift of style is it's never about impressing anyone. The second you start to think about comparing yourself to others, trying to emulate or be like someone else in some way, that is the second that you lose that gift state and move right back into the shadow or the fear state. So I wanted to mention that. So yeah, I'm excited to share more about these. I don't know how much I'll weave them into the podcast. If you guys like them and want to hear more, feel free to email me, or jump in the Patreon, comment in the Patreon post, let me know, send me messages there. I'd love to hear more of like what you are excited about hearing. May 21st to 27th, we have Gene Key 20 being activated. We're leaving the shadow of superficiality. We all know what that means. And we're going to have the opportunity to enter the gift and activate the gifted state of self-assuredness. And we can embody the highest Siddhic state of presence during this gene key. So pure presence may be moments where you are fully aware of the world around you. You are fully immersed in the present moment. Time seems to stop, and you are sitting in reverence and awe of exactly who you are, where you are, and feeling merged with the world around you, merged with higher consciousness. In addition, one of the most important things to remember as we enter this Gene Key 20, which again is May 21st to 27th, is that the simple act of deep breathing will bring you back into the present moment and bring you back into the state of self-assuredness. This is all about activating higher awareness and assuredness in the moment through the breath. So I will do a deeper video and more detailed video on that soon. And I'll post that in our Patreon and on TikTok. And I hope that, you're excited for that one. I will soon do a longer episode where I talk about our June energy and our June gene keys coming up. And don't worry, I will have more coming from Anna and some other people in the future, as well as Roger, because I know that there's more coming with that and that you guys are excited about. But yeah, let me know if you guys want to hear more about the gene keys and human design. I'm going to open up some readings and some classes on these soon too. More so from the perspective of helping you find your purpose and how to pull your charts, how to read your charts, and find and activate your own different gene keys. Because I think a lot of you guys will really benefit from that right now. Not just the, oh, what does my chart say I'm supposed to be, but more so, how do I activate these certain things through the art of contemplation, through choice. Okay. If you guys have questions, again, you can always reach out on my website. It's intuitivesoulcollective.com. That is also where my channeling courses are going to be. That's where you can find all the future classes, like the Intro to Clear Conduit Channeling little mini class we have coming up next week. All of that is on my website and linked up in the Patreon groups. So feel free to jump in either one of those. And I'm so glad that you guys are here listening to the podcast. Please like, subscribe, review, share with your friends, all of the fun things that you think are interesting. And feel free to submit your request for topics or questions that you have that you want me to answer on the podcast for our listener episodes, because we are overdue for one of those. So yeah, feel free to submit those. And thanks everybody. Go and have a great week.